The other day I was talking with a couple that lived in north of Dallas a couple years ago in their late 60s. And halfway through the conversation, they were telling me about, things that they didn't like about where they lived. And they said something that I hear all the time. Gosh, Phil, we wish someone would have told us what you're telling us now before we moved, because we would have made very different decisions back then. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 critical mistakes that people that I've observed in their 50s and 60s make when they're moving to the Dallas area. And more importantly, we're going to talk about what you can do instead so you don't lock yourself into a situation where you regret. I'm Phil Martin. I'm a longtime Dallas real estate advisor, and this channel is dedicated to helping people relocate to North Texas. So let's jump into mistake number 1, and that is assuming that you need to or you have to buy into a 55 plus community just to be able to fit in. I'm not sure where it comes from, but many buyers assume that at that age that they have to live in a designated 55 plus community to get a feeling of belonging and to have activities to do. But frankly, Dallas has many non-55 plus restricted communities where residents are in the same financial and lifestyle stages, but they have many different ages. And these neighborhoods often offer the same amenities or even more and better amenities than those that do have age restrictions. You still get all the social activity, the recreation, the safety, and the structure, everything that you're looking for. If you look at it, your choice is not choosing between a 55 plus community and a community of all ages though. Age is just one aspect. It's just one demographic, because every community will deliver an experience, and every experience will be a little bit different. And since all the experiences will be different, I would suggest or recommend that you look at the type of community, not based solely on age, but based on the experience that you want. Lifestyle alignment. And those two things are simply not the same thing. And mistake number 2 is kind of a kissing cousin to mistake number 1, and that's thinking that 55 plus communities are the only way to get the activities and social life that you want to have. So it may be true, but then again, it may not be true, because when you watch the commercials and read the brochures, it's easy to believe that 55 plus communities equals built-in fun. And any other community for someone who is in their 50s or 60s and beyond will leave them with an experience of a disconnect or isolation, which is simply not true. Many communities in the towns and cities north of Dallas that are not 55 plus age restricted, which is the vast majority of them, have full-time lifestyle directors. They have clubs, extensive fitness centers, tennis, travel groups, social events are all common in mixed ages, but same income, for the most part, neighborhoods, because the housing prices tend to draw people who can afford those levels of houses. So many 55 plus or retirees often prefer being near vibrant activities rather than isolated age bubbles. Whatever the lifestyle is you want, and the one that you get will come from planning, community quality, from the benefits in the surrounding area, not just the age limits. So don't get me wrong. I am not throwing cold water on 55 plus communities, guys. What I am doing is encouraging you to be open when you are looking at just communities in general. Not only what the amenities are on the grounds of the community, but asking what does the immediate surrounding area have to offer, not what age restriction the sign advertises. So explore the surrounding areas for stores and services, entertainment, medical facilities, services, shopping, or your faith-based activities. Consider age as well as all the other factors that will give you the lifestyle you want, need, and deserve. So mistake number 3, ignoring public improvement districts and municipal utility districts and the fee structures that come with them that quietly add up in your monthly budget. And it's easy to overlook a MUD tax or a PID assessment. And both of them can be quite significant, but they're easy to overlook, along with the community fees, which can get pretty high sometimes as well, because just the monthly payment, principal, and interest looks pretty good. But you have to consider everything. MUDs or MUDs will increase your overall tax burden, but they will be subject to being reduced when you can obtain a senior tax discount in the year you turn 65. On the other hand, a PID, a public improvement district, is an assessment, and those are lumped in with the tax bill, but they're an assessment, not a tax, and they are not subject to a reduction when you turn 65. They can be substantial and can erase the perceived affordability advantages very quickly on the property that you've purchased. Some 55 plus and master plan communities market discounts while hiding long-term cost structures in the HOA that may come with special assessments that they know are going to have to be completed or paid for in the future. So if you're not living on a fixed income, many of these potential issues are pretty manageable, right? But if you are, or you're just budget conscious, then they can magnify the mistake of not understanding or ignoring them in your planning. So it's not just purchase price. It's the long-term carry costs with insurance, taxes, assessments, and HOA, everything combined. And this leads me to mistake number 4. And this is the one I said that's often overlooked and uncomfortable to think about. But buying in a 55 plus community without thinking about the resale value or the appreciation of the home in a 55 plus community versus a home that's not in a 55 plus community. It's uncomfortable because a lot of people think of this as their last home. And so the core idea is many homes in the 55 plus communities appreciate more slowly. In my observation, they take longer to sell because of a number of different variables. There's a smaller buyer pool by definition. There's just more demand for a non-55 plus community. And so exit strategies matter, even if it feels like a forever home. Sometimes people think, if this is my last home, I don't care what it's worth when I'm not here anymore. But other people may think, well, maybe I have a trailing spouse, but I want to maximize the value of that home if they want to sell it, or heirs, etc. So that's just another planning consideration on a long-term horizon. A home can feel perfect today, but still be a financial liability or less than an asset than you thought it would be later. So when you're looking at all the different homes you look at in communities, compare resale history between 55 plus communities and nearby non-age restricted neighborhoods and communities. Lastly, mistake number 5 is overlooking how many of the communities north of Dallas are already built for this life stage. What I'm talking about are the cities of Plano, Allen, Frisco, McKinney, Prosper, Salina, and more, which are designed already around safe, amenity-rich communities as a baseline, not an exception. Many neighborhoods already meet retiree needs without age restriction. Access to healthcare, low maintenance yards, dining, entertainment, recreation, walking trails, social life, even senior social life if you wish. It's just standard. You can get the lifestyle without limiting future flexibility. 55 plus community would be a niche solution, right? But you don't need to have a niche solution to get the quality of lifestyle in the towns and communities north of Dallas, Texas that you may be thinking about. Tour both options side by side and look at them. Weigh the pros and the cons before deciding. Just to recap, if you're moving to the Dallas area and you're in your 50s or 60s and you want to avoid, number 1, assuming that you have to have a 55 plus community to live in, avoid number 2, overlooking lifestyle options in mixed age communities, or avoid number 3, paying mud taxes or forfeiting your age 65 tax exemption on a high-cost public improvement district or PID assessment. Who doesn't want to avoid that? Or avoid buying into lower appreciation and resale value for the future, or just avoid missing out on a selection of amenity-rich, high-quality communities that are offered throughout the area. Well, it will take some planning and some thought to avoid all 5 of those mistakes. But if you get these decisions right early, you give yourself more flexibility, less stress, and a lifestyle that actually grows with you instead of boxing you in and giving you restrictions. And if you're considering a move to the Dallas area and want help comparing specific neighborhoods, fees, and long-term implications, and more, just call me at the number right down below. It's my number. I answer. I'm not going to push you off on an AI chatbot or some junior agent. There's also a link below to schedule a Zoom call with me where you will absolutely get expert guidance and clarity you're looking for before you make a decision that you can't undo. Guys, thanks again for watching. I'm Phil Martin, and you can get more information in the next video.